and viewers. This is Dr. Zia Ahmed once again. Today we have to include in our lecture part 3 of literature review, as I had already promised that we shall be doing videos on literature review in 3 parts. 2 parts have already been done, and now it's the part 3, how to write literature, part 3. In order to enter into this video, we shall have to first of all remind ourselves what is that literature review. So first of all, defining literature review. The first point is that a survey of scholarly sources. So literature review is the survey of the scholarly resources. I mean, the scholars, the researchers, whoever have written their researches on a very particular topic or regarding a particular topic. If a survey is taken, that is the start of the literature review. But the survey has to be on a particular topic. In that way, lots of scholars or scholarly sources will be combined in order to create an overview of the topic. But this overview should be based on the most relevant publications which have been done on that particular field. Because in this way, we will be able to get a comprehensive look of who has said on the topic and what has said on the topic. If we do these 3-4 things at that time, we can say that this thing written by us will be the literature review in the field of literature. Same is the case to understand what could be particularly the components of literature review. The components of literature review include, number one, a description of the publication, that we may be telling when the publication was done, who did that, and for what purpose the person continued with that. So type of description of the publication will come, and after that we can create a summary of the same publication of any author or writer or research resource we can say. And while we are creating summary of the main points, we should also be talking about the gap which has been left there, so that at the end we may be able to talk that this is the gap for which the literature review is being written and for which the research is being conducted. We may also, with the passage of time, continue to evaluate each publication with the reference to the contribution which the publication has made into a particular point or into a particular field of research area. So in that way, these 3-4 things become the component of the literature review. Similarly, if we proceed further, we should know some new things as well. Number one, for example, there is one thing, literature review, that we are talking. Another thing is the annotated bibliography. Let us, by the way, try to understand what is this annotated bibliography. Annotated bibliography is again the list of references, but it contains the summary of the contents of these references as well, of these resources as well. Alongside that, 1 or 2 sentences are also indicated to show that how these contents are relevant to the research in question. So in that way, if you write the list of the resources, that will become the annotated bibliography. But on the other hand, literature review, as we have already said, it is the overview of the topic, it is the explanation of the publications and how these publications differ from each other. It is also the evaluation and examination of the publication and how do they contribute into the specific area. So in that way, annotated bibliography and literature review are different from each other, though apparently they seem to be resembling with each other. One writer who is writing a literature review must know the purpose of literature review as well. Purposes are for, number one, to provide a review of writing on the given topic. That the purpose of literature review is that we may be able to provide a survey or an overview of the topic about which the people have been writing, the researches have been conducted, these things should be talked about. And then to establish the reviewer's own position. When this has been done, I mean the researchers and the review has been taken of the researches, at that time the researcher should come forward to establish his own point of view, where he does stand according to those researches. I mean, whatever has been done, he must be summarily describing, and after that, what is the gap in that the researcher may be providing. And the purpose of literature review is also to discuss in comprehensive way what has already been done, and in that way the reader of the review will be able to understand what is the point, what is the gap, where the researcher, the current researcher, is entering. So in that way, the research gap is established when we show the purpose of the writing of literature review. When these purposes are in our mind, we will be able to write literature review as good as possible. And some of time we have the question how much longer the literature review has to be. At that time, there is no fixed rule, there's no hard, fast and rule. It just depends on the length of the subject, length of the project which we are conducting. For example, either we are writing a research paper or we are writing a thesis. For example, if our research paper is an argumentative paper and is at the maximum of 10-page length, we may be needing at least 5 to 6 resources to review in for the purpose of literature review. But if our thesis is of 60 pages, and for that purpose, we may be needing 10 to 12 resources to discuss and provide the overview. So that much can be said about the length of the literature review. But then there is again the talk that there is no fixed point of view about that. However, some of the supervisors have been seen telling to their supervisees that at least 25% of the total length of the thesis may be said to be the type of length of literature review. So in that way, this slide goes to talk about the number of sources and about the number of pages or about the size of literature as well. This thing should also be kept in mind while somebody is writing the literature review. Now, how to do that? As already has been talked about lots of time in my part 1 lecture of literature review, part 2 lecture of literature review, part 3 is also again the repetition of the same. First of all, the writer of literature review has to create a thesis statement. That will be the goal, the thesis statement that will lead the researcher further what he has to do. So thoughtful procedures should be adopted in order to establish a thesis statement. In the same way, when we write an essay, we have a thesis statement that the essay will be covering these things, and essays, you can say the scope of the essay is like that. In this, we will be including this. So that is what the thesis statement is to be prepared. In case of scientific researches, for example, some kind of hypothesis can be developed in order to examine the whole thing. So two things need to be done for writing a literature review. First of all, the thesis statement or the hypothesis to be examined, and after that the researcher should try to clearly state what is the purpose of his project, what he wants to establish actually, and that purpose should be defined very clearly, what the researcher wants to do and what is the reason that the researcher has come forward to do so. When this thing is done, at that time it will be very easy for the researchers to anchor the specific point of view around his research. He may be able to collect number of researches, but for this purpose, this thing, the definition of the thesis statement or the hypothesis, the project purpose, the paper's purpose, all these things will go to provide an anchor around which the whole discussion can take place. So in that way, the very first step is to define the goal of the research paper or that of the research project. The next point is that one should be able to provide the summary. While writing literature review, we must be providing summary of the each publication that we are including. This summary should not be a simple summary. It should provide the context under which the research publication was done and the importance of the research publication in the particular field. That should also be talked about. And then some of the main points of the research publication may be taken in order to develop a summary that should be relevant to our thesis statement or our hypothesis or the statement of our project. And then we should go forward in order to establish the relevance of these main points or the summary of the publication with our own work so that the relationship can be established. So in this way, the next step would be to talk about the relevancy and to create the summary of the publication and to show how it is relevant to your project, what you are going to do. And then the next step would be to develop the literature review. I mean, when you start writing at that time, you need to make an outline of all that. And this outline should be made by keeping some of the ideas in your brain. I mean, if you are writing argumentative essay at that time, you should develop your argument logically. I mean, there should be a logic behind the development of that. Either it should go from A to Z or from Z to A. In whatever the way you should talk about that, the connection of each passage, connection of each research and publication should be established logically on the basis of logic. And then you need to see how the things have been growing and evolving. One can go behind the ideas of the topic as well. What were the earlier ideas? With the passage of time, the ideas continue to develop, and in that way, what are the latest development into these ideas? So in that way also, the writing can be done. This writing can also be done chronologically. I mean, what was done, for example, in 2001, and after that, some of the researchers came forward to develop something more into the project of or the research of 2001, for example, in 2010. And after that, one can still go forward to talk about the thing which is developed on the same idea, same concept, on the same research in 2020, for example. So that will be the chronological sequence. This can be ascending order, this can be descending order as well, as far as the question and the thesis of your own research is concerned. That will determine how you should go. But you can go either way. I mean, in ascending chronological order or in descending chronological order, you can write your research review as well. After you have written it, you must keep in your mind that you need to give the references of the works cited. For example, when you are writing, inside your text, you're required to write at least the names of the authors and the publication years of the authors. And if you are using indirect quotes, at that time you may not need the page number. But if you are using direct quotes in your writing, at that time you need the page number as well. So in this way, it will be essential to provide in-text references as well. Not only these in-text references are required, but also one is required to provide a comprehensive citation at the end of the chapter or at the end of the thesis, whatever the demand of the supervisor or the university is. That type of citation at the end should be according to some accepted and approved style guide. For example, it could be APA, American Psychological Association style format, or it could be MLA, Modern Language Association, for example, or it could be CMOS, Chicago Manual of Style. Most of the time, these are the three styles which are adopted mostly by us people. In Pakistan, APA style is quite relevant. These people are using most of the time. It's easier to use. So whatever the case may be, at the end of literature review or while writing literature review, we need to give some in-text references as well. For this purpose, we should know very well what the style we are using and what is the way to write the citations or references in accordance with the particular style that we have chosen. So in this way, these are some of the ways that need to be adopted before one continues to write literature review. I think if the students and researchers take care of these things, the literature review can be as better as possible. But still, it depends on the skills of the writer. It depends on the way one conducts the research or the way one continues to write. But these are some of the technical advices one can have from part 1 of this video. Part 2 and part 3 all combined together can help you a lot in developing the literature review. So final thing that I want to say is the thank you to all of you people. Before saying goodbye, I would like to say certain things about the current situation, that stay home, stay safe, maintain the social distance, and then keep logging into Dr. Zia Ahmed's videos or write-ups in order to learn more and more. And if you like, if you feel good, then do not hesitate to hit the subscribe button of the videos provided by Dr. Zia Ahmed in his YouTube channel. So thank you very much all of you for watching all this. This has been a very good kind of connection with you that I have tried to establish. So that's it from me for this